Here is our deal of the week, maybe the deal of the month or the deal of the year. I'm going to give you a little bit of back story on this particular cube right here. So by the way, for those of you that haven't noticed yet, I'll go a little bit slower here with the camera so you can see what this actually is, so you can really appreciate the type of deal that I'm going to let you have on this. So that is what the cue maker referred to as museum grade Honduran Rosewood Burl. You heard me. For those of you wood lovers and wood seekers, woodpeckers and wood users, playing with all those pool cues out there. No, all kidding aside, if you know anything about wood, Honduran Rosewood Burl is one of the most expensive and most exotic woods that you could ever get a cue made with. It's really hard to get. This cue is not a new cue, by the way, but it's in great shape. Honduran Rosewood Burl. It is absolutely gorgeous and super exotic. So the story behind this cue, this is a Douglas Moore, by the way. It's had some light play. It's not all beat up. It's been used, but it's not abused. I'm not even going to clean the shafts because I'm offering this at a super, super reduced price to the first person that hits my PayPal or Cash App or Zelle, or you want me to invoice you for to pay with your credit card, whatever the case. Whoever puts the money up first is going to get a really good deal on this. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. So anyway, the shafts have a little bit of bluing. One shaft is dead straight. The other one has a small lift when you roll it in the center. One of them is 4.1 ounce. The other is 4 ounce. Both 13 millimeter. Nice pro taper. Made by my main man, Mr. Douglas Moore. So here's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number one, this cue plays a ton. I mean, it hits perfect. It's a Birdseye front, and he's got Purple Heart core in there. Purple Heart core. This was made back in 2022. When Doug made this cue, this was made as a 6-point cue, as you can see, and it's got beautiful, beautiful looking yellow and orange and brown veneers. Okay? Here is the only negative thing, and the reason why we're selling it so cheap, because this cue, based on the wood that's in it, the 2 shafts, the radial pin, that's a embossed baby croc leather wrap, but just based on the fact that he's used so much of this Honduran Burl, this cue would have been $2,200 to $2,500 out of the shop. We sold this cue at a big discount, just like what I'm about to do again, to a gentleman that was not using it. We got it back in. The reason that it's been sold at such a big discount, Doug had a slight machine flaw when he made the cue, and you can notice, and it's really not a big deal, but just at the top of one of the points there, it's just not perfect, and then there's a straight point, straight point, straight point. Really, it's just that little tiny top of that one point right there. Again, no big deal. Obviously does not affect the playability at all. The points are just not laser straight, okay? So if you look at any of the newer Douglas cues, you're gonna see way better, straighter points. He shifted his machinery and the way he does things now with the CNC and so on. These were all done by hand, cut them in with a saw and so on. So one of the points right there, you got a little bit of a flaw. So what we're going to do here on this cue that rolls laser straight, by the way, I'll roll it out for you so you can see the butt rolls really good. And that Purple Heart plays perfect. I mean, perfect. I actually remembered that it played really good the first time I sold it. The shafts have been chalked, obviously, so I hit some balls, and I remembered how good this cue hit. Great wrap, by the way. Really good installation. This is embossed leather. It's got a really nice grip to it. But how about that Honduran Rosewood Burl? If you don't have any of this in your collection, you need to get a hold of it because it's becoming very difficult to get this wood. By the way, the butt weighs only 14.3 ounces. For those of you that like a lighter butt weight, you can always add weight. It's hard to take it away, right? Just like when we're putting on weight as people, it's easy to put it on, hard to take it off. Pool cue's the same way. So you can easily add weight if you wanted to adjust that, okay? But again, 14.3. So if you like the lighter butt, something that hits really good with some exotic wood, this is for you. So again, brand new, without that little tiny flaw on that point right there that doesn't bother me and definitely doesn't bother the playability, okay? This cue would be about $2,200 to $2,500 just based on the wood and the leather wrap and everything else. We're going to let this cue go for only $14.75 plus shipping. Only $14.75. Some of Doug's Merry Widows, depending on the shafts, they're selling in that range. Some of his basic cues are going in that range. This has some of the most exotic wood that you can put in a cue. Great looking veneers. One little tiny flaw that doesn't bother me a bit right there in that point. But awesome player, radial pin, purple heartwood, and a great wrap. 14.3 on the butt weight, 4.0 on one shaft, and 4.1 on the other. Again, one minor little taper roll on one, the other one's perfectly straight, and they could use a little cleaning on the shaft. The butt itself, no dents, no dings, no scratches. Absolutely gorgeous wood in this cue. Made by Mr. Douglas Moore from Southern Indiana. Doug's one of my best friends. Doug is a really good guy, a very private guy. He sells us the majority of everything that he makes. He allows us the privilege of being his online dealer. Doug is great when you need some support. And you'll notice on my page and my website, crossroadcues.com, Douglas Moore cues do not last very long because for the money, you just cannot go wrong. So for those of you, maybe you're the person that's got the production cues, you want to step off into some custom cues, you're not going to find a production cue that's got that type of wood. I mean, this is some really, really good stuff. Honduran Rosewood Burl, 6-pointer, 3 high, 3 low, made by Mr. Douglas Moore. Doug's cues play jam up, and this one's no exception. $14.75, lighter butt weight. Available at crossroadcues.com. We're going to be posting it to the website soon. Send me a message if you're interested, and thank you so much for the time and for taking a look. Douglas Moore, 6-pointer, ready to go.